Hey, welcome into SportsBIT. Betting Insight today, Pauly and Teddy. Wednesday, February 22nd. Big game breakdown. Two awesome games to go over. Louisville and North Carolina and Butler and Villanova. Deep dive. Hockey, NHL with Ian Cameron. And we look to make it 6 in a row with the play of the day and money time. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books in a second, and a meat and potato pie coming up. But first of all, we start with the huge news in LA, Teddy. Jeanie Buss cleans house. Her brother out. Mitch Kupchak out. John Black, who was the PR guy for 27 years, out. In comes Magic, and in comes a agent trying to be, you're a Michigan guy, trying to be the GM.
Sure. And you know what? I don't blame Jeanie Buss for cleaning house. Okay, I don't. And I know it's got to be awkward to fire your brother. Mitch Kupchak has, he was very hungry executive 15 years ago. You know what I mean? It's been a while for Mitch Kupchak. And really, if you look back at his tenure, he was no Jerry West when it came to player personnel moves for LA, who, of course, was his mentor. But Magic Johnson, are you kidding me? Do you really think Magic Johnson's going to be the guy to turn around the Lakers? Yeah, none. And when I say none, I mean none. And we're talking about a team that's coming off a franchise worst 17-65 season last year. They're 19-39 this year, second worst record in the Western Conference. Ticket sales are down. I understand they got to make splashy moves, and I understand that the Lakers aren't the marquee destination for free agents the way they were 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 years ago. They're not. And I understand that maybe their thinking is that Magic Johnson then recreates that and then the free agents want to come to LA. I'm not so sure that's going to be the case, Paul.
How about Rob Pelinka taking over, an agent being the GM, here's another team trying to pull a Golden State move like Bob Myers.
Now, Pelinka's a guy I have a ton of respect for. He's a Michigan man, and he's a really bright guy who's made a lot of money as an agent and is well respected among all sides. So I think the more they could do with Rob Pelinka, the better chance they have of luring in top flight talent, which has been, the real problem. Again, the free agents haven't been going to the Lakers over the last, 5 years? More than that even? It's been a while. So
I don't expect that to change. I don't expect Magic to make that change either. And the fact that LaMarcus Aldridge walked out on a meeting, Dwight Howard said no, and Kevin Durant wouldn't return their phone calls. And it was a horror show, okay? This is from CBS Sports. Jeanie wasn't talking with her brother. They were going back and forth between lawyers since November, and Jeanie hadn't spoken to Mitch Kupchak since November 1st. Think about that.
Well, what about the old quote from Jim Buss? Do you remember this one? Evaluating basketball talent is not too difficult. If you grab 10 fans out of a bar and then ask them to rate prospects, their opinions would be pretty much identical to those of the pro scouts. Well, Jim Buss, you get what you pay for, I suppose. Enjoy the sidelines.
He's Tommy boy. They done a terrible job taking over. That should have happened a long time ago. And apparently the clincher was how they handled the Cousins trade. Jeanie wanted Cousins. Mitch and Jim tried to make it happen. They actually had a vote with lower level employees on what they should do, and then they couldn't make it happen with Ingram, and Jeanie thought they could change Cousins, and he could be change the culture there, at least help winning, get him back on track, and that didn't happen. Although Magic did make a move here. This is a great move for both teams. The Rockets needed another shooter and a bench guy. They get Lou Williams.
Yeah, and Lou Williams, obviously, we're talking about the number one bench scorer in the NBA so far this season. Eric Gordon's the number 2 bench scorer in the NBA this season. And now the two are teammates. But yeah, I'm with you. First round pick goes to LA. That's what they need. And when you talk about the Rockets having another productive shooter off the bench and keeping Lou Williams out of another team's hands, both of those work in Houston's favor. I know the Wizards really wanted to bring him on board. They don't get him now. He's in Houston.
Yeah, good job by Houston. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. Bad for the books. How about soccer? Manchester City and Monaco, total bet from 2.5 up to 3. ESPN stats and info, Man City with the win 5-3. The 8 total goals are the most ever in the first leg of a Champions League knockout stage match. And that was our play of the day. Never had to sweat that.
Yeah, nice to get one of those nice and easy. When the record-setting days are on your side, that's when you know you're doing something right, Pauly.
Yes. Okay, explain what happened here with Virginia. Clemson loses another close game.
Oh, yeah, and that's all they've done. But SportsBIT viewers, you guys know the drill by now. Virginia Tech bet down They were minus 2.5. They were bet down to pick 'em. Clemson was even a 1-point favorite in a lot of spots before a little bit of late Virginia Tech take back. What happens? Well, Seth Allen hits a 3 on the final possession for the Hokies to win by exactly 1 right in the middle. So all the early Clemson money cashes, all the late Virginia Tech money cashes, and the books take a slap on the face from the Virginia Tech Clemson finale. And Virginia Tech now beat Clemson by a single point in both meetings, and both time it was Seth Allen hitting a 3-pointer on the final possession to win it.
Yeah, sad state of affairs that Clemson's on the bubble. They're now 4-11 in conference play. That's ridiculous. Bad for the books continues. Baylor, Oklahoma, the under bet from 141.5 to 137. It fell 114, Teddy.
Yeah, no sweat win for the bettors in this one. The Baylor was really only looking to grind and move on. Oklahoma not capable of chasing on the road without Jordan Woodard, and we saw a game play at a snail's pace. Bettors got this one right. Books paid the price.
This surprised me. A ton of NC State money on the road. Bet from 5.5 down to 3. They won outright at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and the money was right. This is a game that I had the other side of. I had the Yellow Jackets minus the points in that contest at 3. I thought it was really cheap. It wasn't. The sharp money took lame duck coach Mark Gottfried, and NC State was the right side. They had the lead almost wire to wire. Georgia Tech very flat off the big win over Syracuse on Sunday.
Yeah, bad loss there. Bad bets, a couple of them. South Carolina, 9.5 down to 7.5. Florida took care of business in that one. And Northwestern, oh no, blown out at Illinois. Illinois swept Northwestern, so the winning conference record, first time since 1968, that's going to have to wait. They need to win one of their last 3 games to get the winning record, although Northwestern is in the tournament.
Well, doesn't it feel like Northwestern's about ready to start losing a couple games right about now?
Actually, it does feel that way. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, what about Penn State? Penn State took a ton of money last night, +9 to +7. Purdue was lucky to win that game at all in overtime. And great quotes after that game. You know, Purdue coach Matt Painter. It rarely happens where a team outplays another one, plays harder, and they lose the game, especially on their home court. Thank the Lord, Ryan Klein knocked those 2 shots down in overtime. He had a couple of big ones. And Penn State coach Patrick Chambers, quote, "That was as hard as we played all year. Proud of my team. However, there's no moral victories here. We got to get some things done. We've got to close out games." Bad result for the books, who took a whole bunch of Nittany Lions money.
Let's have some fun here. The Sutton backup keeper is Wayne Shaw. He didn't play in the loss the other night to Arsenal. There were 8-1 odds offered. Would he eat a pie during the game, during the match? He ate a meat and potato pie after all the subs were entered, so he knew he wasn't getting into the match. 46-year-old known as the roly-poly goalie admitted that he was aware of the 8-1 odds, and he talked about it with friends. To me, the definition of fake outrage. The team saying, oh, and he went to the team and resigned and essentially quit. The team's embarrassed, but give me a break. Although there's an investigation now about the book that offered the 8-1 odds, Teddy.
Yeah, and if you're going to blame anyone, you blame the book. You know, I don't blame the guy. Here's his quote. I said, "I don't know. I haven't eaten nothing all day, so I may as well give it a go later on. As I say, Sunbet had me at 8-1 to eat a pie. I thought I would give them a bit of banter and let's do it. All the subs were on. We were 2-0 down. I went and got it at halftime from the kitchen. I had it all prepared and ready to go. It was meat and potato. I think there were a few people who backed it. Obviously, we are now to bet. We are not allowed to bet. I think it was a few of the mates and a few of the fans. It was just a bit of banter for them, something to make the occasion, as well as you can look back and say there was part of it, and we got our ticket money back. You know, and this is a guy who supposedly, I don't know a lot, but the stories I've been reading, nobody ever heard of him until like a month ago, and he got some publicity, and now he's like, they're talking about him every week, and he's a roly-poly goalie, and a 46-year-old goalie who all of a sudden has become a national celebrity and then media star. They're offering 8-1 odds, though. This one's on the book. It's not on the guy who ate the meat and potato pie.
Gambling Commission announced it would conduct its own investigation into whether SunBets, which sponsored Sutton for the Cup Clash, has breached its license requirement by offering such a bet in the first instance. This happened years ago in the NFL. It wasn't, you couldn't bet on it, but Sanchez, when he was with the Jets, ate a hot dog on the sidelines, and people lost their minds. He's like, I was sick. What do you want? I was hungry. But here, this is what I love about it, stuff over there, and we talked about this when the Leicester City thing happened. You ask them to put anything up, they do it. Will Christmas be the warmest day of the year? Kim Kardashian, President 2020, Loch Ness Monster proven to exist. Will Teddy's son win a major in golf by 18? I mean, Rory McIlroy had that. You asked to put it up, they put it up.
Yeah, but what I love, you talk about the fake outrage. Here's the commission's enforcement and intelligence director, the gaming commissioner, his statement. Integrity in sport is not a joke, and we have opened an investigation to establish exactly what happened. As a part of that, we'll be looking at any irregularity in the betting market and establishing whether the operator has met its license requirement to conduct its business with integrity. Yeah, that sounds very British. I should have done it with a British accent, but I didn't. Thank the Lord. Yeah, it's fake. The fake outrage is real, but and where's the cry? Who's the victim in this instant? The book put up a prop, people hit it, so be it.
And you lost a couple grand, big deal. Up next, big game breakdown. Good doubleheader. Louisville and UNC, and Butler and Villanova, plus Ian Cameron to talk hockey. And we look to make it 6 in a row on SportsBIT. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.
Go to SBROdds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.
Back on SportsBIT, Betting Insight today. Pauly and Teddy, time for a big game breakdown. As always, live odds, sportsbookreview.com. Tonight, 6 o'clock Pacific, ESPN, Louisville, North Carolina. Huge matchup in the ACC. Carolina 6, 153 the total, number 7 against number 8 in the country. SportsBIT viewers know that we're talking about a big game for Carolina. Offensive rebounding's the key. Louisville can get stops, but what about rebounds after them? Matt Dieng and Louisville defense among the best in the nation. Overall 5th, block shot 7th, effective field goal percentage 9th, although 341 in times used off the shot clock by opponents, Teddy. Pitino still not happy with it.
Yeah, and that's the incredible thing about this Louisville defense, all right? You're ranked number 5 overall. You're ranked 7th in block shots, 9th in field goals. You're holding teams among the bottom 10 in the country in terms of how much time it takes them to get a shot off against you. And some of that has to do with the number of turnovers they force. But those defensive numbers still not what Rick Pitino wants to see. Quote, I've been telling you guys all along, and you keep looking at the stats and think, oh, our coach is wrong. He just keeps geeking us up. But no, we are not a good defensive team. We have to become that. And if you're looking for stats, well, there's one that stands out. They foul too much. They've been whistled for 519 fouls this season. Opponents getting close to 22 free throw attempts per game. And then you get the rest of the Pitino quote. Quote, you got to play good help defense. And we get beat a lot on straight line drives. It's the whole team. It's something we worked very, very hard on, helping, and we're getting better at it. But not good enough for Pitino, certainly when it comes to those fouls thus far.
Well, if they get a miss, can they clear the boards? In North Carolina, offensive rebounds, number 1. Louisville defensive rebounds, 141. But can Carolina also get in a flow against this Louisville defense? UNC averages a shot every 15.1 seconds. That's 12th in the country. Louisville gives up one every 18.5. Although the Tar Heels do move the ball while they pass it. 9 players have at least 30 assists, Teddy.
Yeah, and really, my North Carolina handicap comes down to one factor only. Does the opponent clean the offensive glass? Or the defensive glass, I should say. Because when you talk about Kennedy Meeks, and a guy who gets no love and no pub, he is a special player. He has close to 1,000, over 900 career rebounds, close to 1,000. 255 this season, 101 of those on the offensive end of the glass. And a great rebounder. The guys get no love. Kennedy Meeks is a difference maker for Carolina, and if you can't bang with him in the paint, those second chance opportunities will kill you. It's what the Tar Heels have done all year, and it's what they're going to need to do tonight if they're going to get past the Cardinals.
Yeah, Carolina's going to win the ACC with a win, likely. Well, the winner's in great position to win the ACC. Louisville's been scoring, though, Teddy. I like it over.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk you out of an over. Pitino saying his defense isn't right. North Carolina wants to run and gun. Louisville can create the easy, fast break buckets. All of those factors certainly point in that direction.
Game number 2, live odds, sportsbookreview.com. Also 6 o'clock Pacific. This one on Fox Sports 1. Butler and Villanova, number 22 against number 2 in the rankings. Nova 10, 141 the total. January 4th at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Butler was plus 1.5. The line was telling you something there. And they won by 8. Villanova led with 3 minutes to play, a 15-6 Butler run to close out the game. No Butler player scored more than 13. They won the battle of the boards, and it was even, or they were 15-15 rather, at the free throw line. Jay Wright, quote, wasn't one of our best nights defensively. They run some great stuff. They all share the ball, great balance, make extra passes. that broke down our defense a little bit, end quote. But here's Villanova, and they've been dynamite in revenge mode, Teddy.
Yeah, they sure have. But yeah, let's go back to that first meeting, because again, it's 52-51 Villanova. 3 minutes to play. And you look at the final score, you say Butler wins by 8. All right, and that's one of the problems over the course of a long college basketball season. You kind of forget some of these games. You forget how it plays out. And all you see is a final score. You say, oh, Butler beat them up. No, they didn't. Jalen Brunson had 23 points on 9 of 16 shooting Villanova, and nobody else could hit a bucket the whole game. The rest of the team. Brunson hit 9 shots. The rest of the team hit 10 of 35. So even with that, even with only one guy for Nova having anywhere near a decent game, they're still leading with 3 minutes to play. Now, you look at the final result, and you say, oh, Butler won, and now we have Villanova revenge. And as you mentioned, haven't had to see Villanova as a team, hasn't had to watch a lot of Big East opponents celebrate over the last couple of years. When they've had a chance to get even, they've done it really, really well. Let's throw this graphic up there, because this is some good stuff. There have been 5 games since 2014, 2015. A couple of same-season revenge and a couple of carryovers. The game against Seton Hall, where Seton Hall knocked them out of the Big East tournament last year, for example. And when you look at those games, every one of them, blowout, 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 blowout. They won them all by a dozen or more, 5-0 straight up, 5-0 against the spread, and they beat the spread by close to a dozen points per game. That's playing with Big East revenge. That, Pauly, is a track record of success in this role.
Yes, it's also great information there as well. Up next, NHL, Ian Cameron, 5 great minutes. Try to make you some money in hockey, and we look to make it 6 in a row with the play of the day. Coming up next on SportsBIT, betting insight today on SBRpicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.
All right, 5 great minutes with Ian Cameron, SBR contributor. Let's talk some hockey at Babano on Twitter. Thanks for the time, Ian. You do a great job. You're on a nice run. Let's start with the mandated bye weeks. Why have teams been so poor off the bye so far in the NHL?
It really is amazing, Pauly. We're talking about a 4-16 record for teams playing that first game off their extended league-mandated bye week, which the NHL has put into effect for every single team this season. And a big reason for it, I feel, is that there's very little practice time, if any. Players are away from the rink. They're not really doing, I think, much skating on their own. They're away on vacation, taking some holiday time, going to tropical locations at this time of year. I've seen, Instagram, Twitter photos from a lot of NHL players posting their holiday hotspots where they've gone during their bye weeks for their teams. So I think you put all of those combinations together, Pauly, and it's a perfect recipe for just being flat, being just ill-prepared to play a solid, strong 60-minute hockey game in that first game coming off the bye. And certainly the 4-16 record for teams in that spot is indicative of it.
This is also something that goes back a long time, that you just blindly play on a team that fires their coach. You've seen multiple coaches fired. Even Montreal was in first place when they did it. What do you think of the move that the Islanders have made and the Bruins? And will it continue with Montreal with Julian coming in?
Well, Montreal is a different case, Pauly, because Montreal's really been terrible. They haven't been putting the puck in the ocean. Basically, you could give them the Atlantic Ocean to shoot the puck and they'd miss at this point in time. I mean, their offense has been really that bad. And we'll see if Claude Julien can get things corrected there. But the problem is, Claude Julien's not an offensive-minded head coach. He's not looking to push the pace. He's not looking to push tempo. He's not looking to see this team involved in a lot of higher-scoring hockey games. He wants Kitty by the door, defense first, tight to the vest type of hockey. And Montreal's been playing that way with one of the best goalies in the world in Carey Price for the last few years. But the problem remains, can this team score goals when they need to? And I honestly don't see enough evidence to do that. I'm not as sold on Montreal being a long-term success with the coaching change, but Boston, to me, Claude Julien's former team, looks to be a team that's got some really rejuvenated energy since their coaching change, since Bruce Cassidy took over. 4-0 for this Bruins team. They're trying to push the pace a little bit more, trying to get a little more offensive-oriented style of hockey into their game, and the players have responded extremely well to it. Brad Marchand having a tremendous season for the Bruins, and Boston especially has been great since their coaching change. Perfect 4-0 so far.
Are they Stanley Cup contenders in your mind? And can the Islanders make the playoffs and maybe do some damage in the playoffs?
The New York Islanders they got to improve on this road record, Pauly. For me to buy into the New York Islanders, they're one of the league's worst teams on the road. And the problem for the Islanders is they're going to be playing, I think, 19 of their next 20 games or something along those lines on the road because the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, it's going to be booked for the Barnum and Bailey Circus. It's going to be booked for the ACC basketball tournament in a few weeks. So the Islanders are going to be away from the Barclays Center for a long time. They're going to need to improve on this road record if they're going to make the playoffs. They've been great at home since Doug Waite took over as the interim coach after Jack Capuano was fired. But their road record has not been good, and that's going to be put to the test in a big way with the majority of the Islanders' upcoming games away from home.
You mentioned this on the Google Hangout we do Thursday, 8 o'clock Pacific. Minnesota was on a 19-3 run to the over. All this stuff is under the radar when you're not talking about winning streaks, but when you look at totals. Is there anybody out there that continues to be on a nice total run, either over or under in hockey?
Yeah, Minnesota started to revert back to the norm a little bit. 2 of their last 3 games have gone under the total. Winnipeg is a team that continues to cash overs on a nightly basis. They've given up 3 or more goals, Pauly, in 15 of their last 18 games. It's a subpar blue line. It's marginal goaltending, regardless of whether it's Connor Hellebuck, Michael Hutchinson, Andre Pavlik. Doesn't matter who's in net for the Jets. They're getting a B- goaltender at best on a nightly basis in between the pipes. It's a big reason why Winnipeg has been in a lot of overs and higher scoring games of late. And even Chicago. Chicago's offense has really come alive. Their defense and goaltending, maybe not quite as sharp this year as it's been in years past, particularly from Corey Crawford. So they've been trending over the total quite a bit as of late. So definitely totals trends involving those teams, something to keep an eye on.
Ian Cameron, our guest, talking hockey on SportsBIT Betting Insight today. Last thing, whether it's teams playing out the string, teams trying to make a playoff push, or maybe can't handle the pressure, are there certain teams that we should look at betting on, or some teams out there that we should fade the rest of the way?
Edmonton Oilers look like a very much improved team this year. They're a young team. They've got Connor McDavid, the captain. Everybody's saying, was he ready to be the captain of this team? But the Edmonton Oilers are responding positively to Connor McDavid's leadership. He has been fantastic leading this team with his performance on the ice. He's an incredible gifted talent in terms of his speed, his skating ability, his playmaking, his vision, his ability to finish around the net. He's got all the tools to be a superstar in the NHL, and he's certainly proven that. The Edmonton Oilers, to me, big buy sign on them, a bet on team. I've been able to cash a few tickets with Edmonton in recent weeks, and they're a team I'd definitely be keeping my eye on. In terms of a fade team, really don't like what I'm seeing from the Carolina Hurricanes. They've really struggled in recent games. They're another team that's offensively challenged right now, and their defense is struggling. So I do believe Carolina could be a bet against, and so could the New Jersey Devils. I mean, the New Jersey Devils are in a situation where if they don't string a few wins together in the next few games, they could be sellers at the trade deadline. And if that's the case, they're going to be unloading some of these veterans like a Mike Camilleri, Travis Zajac, some of the guys of that ilk at the deadline if they continue to lose and fall out of the playoff race. So the Canes and the Devils could be vulnerable bet against teams moving forward.
Nice work. Good to talk to you. Let's do this before we do a playoff preview.
All right, Pauly, it sounds good. Thanks for having me on the show.
You got it.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.
Ian Cameron, man, that guy always comes with a ton of energy. Good insight from Babano. But Pauly, we did a soccer play yesterday. We had a soccer deep dive. We're going to go with a hockey play today because of our hockey deep dive.
Yeah, we got to do it. Ian made some good points. The Bruins going up tempo, fast-paced hockey, and we expect to do get most of the goals in this one. Let's make it 6 in a row. Betting number 55-56. Bruins Ducks over 5. Got to lay $1.40 in that one. Let's go over the total for the play of the day and get another winner. All right, Thursday, the NBA's back. Trade deadline. We'll recap the trades. And we got, with the league back, we got games to preview. Davis and Cousins get it going. Big show coming up Thursday and Friday, the Oscars edition of the Deep Dive as well. Google Hangout every Thursday at 8 o'clock Pacific as well. Tell your friends. Be a part of it. We love you. SportsBIT. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.